Okay, so I've had Britt on the show, and
Yes.
she gave me the rundown of your guys' love connection. But I would like to hear it from your perspective of
Mm,
meeting Britt Baker for the first time. You guys met online.
yes.
What? Give me your version of the story.
Okay. Okay. So this is how I remember it.
We've
So
talked wrestling. Let's talk love connection
yeah,
now.
this sounds great. So funny enough is I think Britt's story I'm assuming is very very accurate. But funny enough is we were even before Bumble, because Bumble was kind of where it all
Does
started.
Bumble still exist? Is that still a thing?
I don't know if that's still a thing or not.
It's probably, yeah. You
I'm
don't
not
need to
sure.
know anymore. Who cares?
Exactly right. Yeah.
No offense, Bumble.
But we were actually Facebook friends before that.
Okay.
And I not that we'd never had conversation on there or anything, except for I remember we had matched on Bumble, I guess, because she was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is very close to where I was living at the time. And then she sent me a message saying, "Oh yeah, who's this guy?" And it was my picture. So we had kind of been talking a little bit back and forth, and then either I got busy or she got busy. So it was like this very much back and forth discussion type of thing. And I remember one day I had reached out because I thought she was beautiful right from the
Babe.
gate. So total babe, 100% babe. And I kept asking her about going on a date. And she was very hesitant about it because she didn't want to date a wrestler.
I don't recommend it.
Yeah. Right. And I kept kind of, pressing the issue. And I remember the selling point for her was I went to New Japan to go and wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom.
Mhm.
And it was when I won the Ring of Honor title for the third time. And she, I guess, was so impressed that I went to Japan and I was still messaging her all the time. So she's like,
Ooh.
"Oh, okay, he's actually interested." So I finally talked her into going on a date with me, where we met kind of halfway in the middle. It was like 2.5 hours for me or 2.5 hours for her. And we went to a TGI Fridays and we
Hell yeah.
closed the place down. It was like 6 hours of us just sitting there and talking. We had so many cups of coffee. There was an awful
Oh yeah, because you
storm.
couldn't even have cocktails because you were driving.
Exactly. Right.
Wow, that says a lot to just like soberly sit and enjoy each other's company right off the bat. That's a good sign.
Yeah. It went really, really well. And I remember, and Britt is the type of person to me, and I mean this as the highest compliment, because I think she looks beautiful in pictures.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing her in person for the first time and getting that like heart drop into your stomach feeling.
Yeah.
And being like, "Oh my God." Like I was nervous. I
Not
wanted
dissimilar
say
to
the
being
right
lait,
things.
but just in a different direction.
in
Same
in
kind
a
of
in a
feeling.
good way.
In a good way.
In a good
Yeah.
way. Like you're on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And the date went really, really well. And we had talked about maybe hanging out. I think it was like 3 weeks later. And I remember on the drive home, I texted her and I said, "Hey, I know we're supposed to get together in 3 weeks. Can you hang out on Sunday?" Our date was Friday. And she goes, "Yeah, I can." So
Oh my God.
we drove again, and the rest was history. Then we just started talking every day and got really, really close. So I was crazy about her from the beginning.
How did you guys close that gap of living far apart from each other to having to meet every, 2.5 hour drives for you guys?
Yeah. So she sometimes would come and visit me, but
Mhm.
she was so busy with dental school,
Mhm.
where lots of times I would drive up to see her. So because I had that schedule, where especially at the time with Ring of Honor, lots of times we would have shows or a weekend of shows once every 2 weeks. So I would have, God, like sometimes a week and a half of doing whatever I wanted to do. So it was very easy for me to drive up and visit her, or be on shows that she was on and things like that. So
Yeah.
thankfully my schedule was very, very open.
And then it just made sense, I guess, for you guys to move to Florida, because you obviously had to be there for NXT. It just made
I
sense to
had
be
to.
like, we're Florida people now.
Yeah. So yeah, when I was there for like a year by myself first, and she was finishing up school.
Yeah.
And then the second that she could, she didn't even think about it. She was like, of course, I'm
Yeah.
going to move to Florida. So that was huge for me too. That was really
Yeah.
cool for her to pick up and take her entire life to Florida, because I love Pennsylvania and
Mhm.
she loves Pennsylvania. Like someday we are 1000% going to move back to PA.
Hell yeah.
So for her in a heartbeat to be like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, I'll go down there with you and live there.
Yeah,
It was
that's
really
just the
cool.
way that has to go. I mean, even like when John and I, when we first started dating, I was living in New York, he was living in Las Vegas, but we had time when we would hang out together on the
Yeah,
road, of course, but then we'd both
right.
go back to like our corners. I'd be doing my thing, he'd be doing his. And then when it was like, all right, what are we doing here? Let's move this to the next level. And I
Yeah,
remember talking to Hunter and I was like, can I move out of New York? Because I had to be there to do a studio show.
yeah,
But the studio show that I was doing, I would literally drive up there. It took me 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm living in New York City to do one show 1 day a week for 20 minutes. This seems crazy to me.
yeah.
So yeah, I once Hunter finally was, wow, I really just hit the T on Hunter. Um, but yeah, when he was like, all right, you don't have to live out this way anymore, be free. But he's like, but if we need you back at the studio, you've got to move back here. I was like, okay, sure, no problem.
Right,
And then,
right.
yeah, we moved out to Las Vegas and, yeah, it was just, you do whatever you got to do to be with your person.
You have
Make
to.
that
You
move.
have to. Yeah, and it made it a lot easier because it was the nice thing though with us is because we started long distance, it like we were always able to handle it. Like even recently, even
Yeah.
as of a few months ago, with the fact that I was only getting to see her 1, maybe 2 days a week,
Mhm.
we have been used to that from the beginning.
Sure.
But when we do get the chance to spend a lot more time together, that's always a positive as well.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
the fact that we started that way, I think it did really help us. And it really, she understands being in the pro wrestling business, me being in it. She gets
Thank
that our
God,
schedules can
right?
be
Could you
wacky.
imagine if you were like, I mean, there's plenty of people in wrestling that are with people that are not in wrestling, but
Yes.
how nice to just have that commonality and you don't have to explain anything. Everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
What a dream.
It's so nice. So nice.